maybe a 5-6. 5-8, he calls.
This tournament's over. It's over just like that.
What's up, everybody? Currently it is Tuesday, February 13th. A week and a half ago, that footage you just saw was some of the deepest tournament run I've ever had. So we're gonna make a full-size blog out of it and recap some of those big hands. I am active duty military, so sometimes I am in places away from home, and this was one of them. Now I'm back home in San Diego. This vlog, however, took place in San Antonio, Texas, at Rounders. Now I've played at Rounders quite a bit now. I've become acquainted with the people, with the games, and I have to say it is one of my favorite places to play in the country. Which is why we showed up for the $100,000 guaranteed $200 buy-in tournament called the Roundup. First day, we had ourselves an absolute ball, and we bagged chip lead going into day 2. So that's where this vlog picks up, is us on the way to Rounders. Enjoy. Alright, currently we're on a little bit of a sweat alert. Come back to day 2 at Rounders, San Antonio. We bagged second in chips, coming back to 102 players. It was a $200 100K, and I think the prize pool's at like 140K. But regardless, first place will be something like 25 to 30,000. Good luck, us. Alrighty, y'all, we arrive at Rounders. We take our seats and verify our 838,000 stack. Our table's actually looking really good. We only have one like known pro. It's Bet on Drew. He's an ACR team pro. You see him here in this clip in a second. More on him later. But we take a look up at the board and we see first place is 24,000, which for a $200 tournament is like a super nice score, no doubt. So yeah, we're a little excited. Also, we are in for the dream, which that's right, 1 bullet. Absolute miracle. So we have Jack 10 of hearts here on the button. Beautiful hand. Under the gun raise, kind of a weird one to start off, I'm not gonna lie. Hijack call, and we put in the call on the button. We don't want to get pushed off this hand, we want to play in position. Small blind calls, and then big blind makes it 88K, which is like weirdly small. Under the gun folds, hijack call, put in the call, and small blind calls as well. Pretty fat behind, 379K first hand of the day. We get a flop that dreams are made of. We get this 7-8-9 flop. So I guess the run good's not done with me yet. Small blind checks, and then big blind decides that into 4 people he's gonna fire the 125K. Kind of an awkward size because he only has 100K behind. I put in the flat because I want small blind to come in. We go heads up to a turn, which is not gonna change really anything. Big blind jams for his last 100K. We call. And believe it or not, he actually was not dead. He had the ace queen of hearts. We see a brick of jack on the river, and we scoop a massive pot, up over 1 million chips. We kind of fold for about 30 minutes or so, and then we look down at 2 red jacks under the gun. Make it 35K to go. Under the gun plus 2, who's a very short stack at this point, about 10 bigs, puts in the call. Small blind ends up jamming for 321K. We're not going anywhere. We got 1.2 million in chips. We put in the jam, and then under the gun plus 2 actually over jams 2 for much less, 155K total. So we're gonna go to a run out.
Alright, so this, I had matched that up, so that's the B.
Small blind has ace queen off. Under the gun has queen jack suited of clubs, and we get a little sweat with the 2 clubs on the flop. Safe turn. And the safest of rivers, we're gonna catch a massive 3-way all in. And then we're absolutely rolling. A couple minutes later, we get queens in versus 8s for about 300,000 in chips. We get a safe board here, catch another pot, and we're up like to almost 1.5 to 2 million chips at this point. With about 36 left, we see this massive hand where there's a 3-way all in, under the gun jams, MP rejams, and then Bet on Drew is in the big blind in the tank for his effective stack. As you can see, there's 36 left, 40K level, so quite a few levels have gone by since I played a hand, considering the last hand was at the 16K level. He ends up flicking in the call. We see Drew's 9s versus ace 10 versus ace 6 from under the gun. Nines cannot feel good, and ace 10 turns everybody stone dead. And just like that, Drew is out. I include this in the vlog because Drew is actually the commentator. He commentates on this entire live stream final table. You would never know that he was 30 off of the final table. And that's him busting in 36th place. So super class act, super good guy. Love playing with him. Shout out to Drew. Go watch his Twitch. Give him some love if you see this. So, all right, and that leads us to the last hand before the final table live stream. We opened the Queen 10-0, the 80K big blind level to 160,000. Button ends up putting in the call, and then we get a Jack of Hearts, 9 of Hearts, 8 of Spades flop. Stuff dreams are made of. We just decide to check and then commit him if we can. The button throws in 225,000. We end up check raising to 675K. He thinks for an eternity, like I cannot describe to you how long, and I'm surprised nobody called clock. But after thinking for forever, he ends up jamming all in for the 1.6 million. Obviously we snap it off.
Nice answer. Nice answer. Whoop, whoop. Nice. Nice answer.
Ace Jack, and he's stone dead. We lose one more player like 5 minutes later, and then they fire up the final table. Stream starting up. As you can see, we got the chip stacks here. We are chip leading 6,250,000 chips, and this is what we're playing for. We got 9th $2,400 and first 24,000.
And look at Dakota. Dakota has a suited Queen Jack.
All right, we waste no time getting involved. Opens the Ace King to 500K on the button, and we got a pretty easy decision. I think of the big blind with the Queen Jack suited. No need to raise and get blown off this beautiful hand. So we're just gonna put in the call, flop top pair, a little gutter action. We put in the check and ray. Decides 350K. Good size. Pretty standard, I think. So we put in the call. Really love this turn. He is going to have some 8x, but mostly this is a brick. I'm kind of surprised to see that Ray continues to fire, though. And I'm not super comfortable with my hand when he fires this bet. Fires out 850K, about half pot. But in relative stack sizes, like 850K, you know, there's some people's stacks that are close to 1 million. So this is a big pot. I don't think we have anything to do but put in the call. And we get kind of an interesting river with the 10. And I remember in the moment being super uncomfortable. But I love seeing that Ray just turns his hand over. And we do have a winner. We win a 3.6 million chip pot 5 minutes into the stream. Not long after that, we actually see our first elimination. Pretty standard. Kings versus Ace Jack, and we are down one player. Literally just a couple hands later, we see Wayne again with Kings, and we're going to see Kings hold down the 7 players. Moving right along, and fold to the small blind with Ray with the King 6 of clubs. He decides to limp. I think it's a pretty slam dunk jam in his spot, but he does decide to limp, which is not bad. And we check back the 4-5 off, obviously. We take a flop. I think Ray should be betting super wide range here. So when he decides to check, I just kind of categorize it into like huge air ball on this board and believe that we can fire a couple big blind bet here and take it down a huge percentage of the time. However, Ray does not let me take it down. He decides on a call, in case you're wondering if our run good was over. And expecting Ray to check over to me a lot. But now he decides to lead for, I think it's like a 4th pot, and or 3rd pot with 400K bet here. And, you know, we make the straight. I'm loving it. But I'm not loving it that much, because now the hands that he wants to check, call, and then lead are going to be like 8s that he planned on rejamming pre, 8-6, 6-7. He's going to have a lot of boats here. We're not going anywhere. He's got 1.4 million behind after this bet. We jam it in there, and then he snaps it so fast I thought we were dead. I'm not kidding, I thought we were dead. But he turns over the King 6. We're not out of the woodwork. We got to dodge quite a bit, but we eliminate a player. Catch a pay jump, and we win a 5 million chip pot. We're under the gun. We look down at the Ace 3 of diamonds. Pretty standard open. Almost didn't include this hand in the vlog, but I had so many people reach out to me about this hand and say that it was super interesting. So I feel like I had to include it. Alex on the button flats the king 7 of clubs here, and rebuy in the big blind catches a hand good enough to call as well. When we open under the gun, we have a lot of ace-x and strong hands, and this is one of the worst aces we're going to have. We would open ace-deuce suited, but that would be 2 pair on this board. So this kind of falls into like the worst top pair we're going to have, which I think is a perfect hand to just check and pot control. Especially with the pot is so bloated and we're playing against the other chip leader. So we do check, and we see a bet in position from Alex. He's going to have quite a few stabs when check 2 in position here, so I'm not hating it when he bets the 700k, but we do put in the call. And we get the 5 of clubs on the turn. Initially, my reaction is that I don't hate this card. However, when I check, and now Alex decides to continue, and not only continue, but continue for a very small size, you know, I'm not loving it. I immediately hate it because the things that are going to double barrel are going to be sets, extremely strong ace highs, which I don't think he has a lot of here. I think a lot of them would re-raise pre, so we can eliminate like a lot of ace king, queen, even ace jacks. So the fact that he barrels here, he's going to have a lot of suited hands that he called on the button that now are still liking this turn. So a lot of suited club hands. I don't think about it too long, and I just muck it. I don't think there's any reason to play a big pot against the second and chip stack with a weak ace-x, one of the weakest hands we'll have here. And we muck it, and we actually see he did turn the nuts. Rolling right along, though, we look down at the very next shuffle. We're now in the big blind. A little rapid-fire action here. And Wayne decides to open under the gun here. 150k blind, and he opens it up to 800k, so really quite sizable. Yeah, really sizable because we see rebuy with only 2 million in stack, right? So he's opening to like quite a large size. Rebuy ends up mucking the 9-10 of diamonds here, and I feel like I would almost rip it here with the 9-10 of diamonds, but he makes like the quickest fold ever. Doesn't even think about it. But we put in the very playable call with the queen 10 in the big blind, and my god, what a flop. Queen 10's been our hot hand this tournament. Flopping the nuts with the redraw, backdoor queen high club. I'm not gonna lie, it was extremely alarming to see him bet 1 million. That's a massive bet on this board. I think I was raising all smaller sizes, but the 1 million size is like intimidating. I don't know. We get an interesting turn, the ace of clubs, pairing top card, which I don't like. We're losing to quite a bit now. And not only that, but I guess we're not dead if he has a boat. We do have the royal draw. Yeah, extremely uncomfortable turn card though. And I don't even like that he checks. Like he would check like all ace king here, all things that have us dead, hoping that we catch up. So when we get an even worse river, the king of spades, I'm just begging to get the showdown here. I mean, I can't think of a worse run out, quite frankly. I was thinking of a lot of run outs, and this was not one. And after some deliberation, Wayne ends up checking it back. Thank God. He just has pocket threes and is playing the board. I think in his shoes, I would have stabbed, and I don't know if I would have folded or not. I mean, what do we even beat when he stabs here? Not long after, we see a fourth elimination to the tune of rebuy versus Alex's ace-8, and we are going to see the ace-8 hold here after a not-so-sketchy board. And we lose another. We're immediately down to 4 players. It seems like we just started the final table. Also with this elim, we have locked ourselves up. We've locked up 8,940 with that elim. And as if this final table is not going fast enough, I believe it's only a shuffle or 2 later, we see Wayne jam the jack 10 of spades in big blind with just pocket nines, and we snap. I mean, we could not put the money in faster. And we are off to the races. But we get an extremely clean flop. Super great turn that does not add any outs for him. Jack and a 10, only 4 outs to go. And we hold, baby. 3 left. We've locked up $11,800 from a $200 buy-in. And we are cooking. Things are getting excited. Things are getting intense. Congratulations. And not only that, but now one of the guys at the table mentions, looking at the numbers, how The rounders rule is that you can only look at the numbers one time. They will pause the clock. So you only get one chance to look at the numbers with the clock paused. And we're all extremely even stacks, as you can see in the bottom left. And I believe it was the man in seat 1, Van Trailer, that asked to run the ICM numbers and take a look. You can kind of hear me in the back.
Very, very good run.
Let's take a break real quick. We'll look at the numbers and then we'll come back. All right, now let's talk for a second. So I don't play a lot of tournaments, but I've always told myself I will never chop if I were to get in this situation. Now, or with the final table approaching, I started thinking more and more about it, and I had a rule that I had thought about and that I implemented in this stream, or in this tournament final table. The rule is that if the money is not life-changing, if my life will not change from the pay jumps, then I don't want to chop. For example, if I'm playing a $1,200 buy-in or $1,500 buy-in tournament and the pay jump, and it's a massive field, and the pay jump from 3rd to 1st is $250,000, well, my life would change from $250,000. And if we chop in a way that gives me another $150,000, $175,000, that's a lot of money. My life would change. I would probably put a down payment on a house. Maybe we would do things a little differently. However, the pay jump from $12,000 to $24,000 is not going to change my life. Is $12,000 a lot of money? Yeah, sure. Especially for a $200 buy-in. But it doesn't change my situation of living. So this falls into the category of I'm not chopping. That's kind of the insight into my mindset there. I also don't want to chop because this is the first time I've ever been three-handed in a live tournament. Now, I've played some online tournaments where I've ran deep and been within the top 2 or 3, but online is just very different from live, and I don't have a lot of experience in this situation. And the only way to get experience is to grind, which is why we looked at the numbers and they offered me the trophy and $18,000, and I said, no, I want to play, because I fully believe that there was an extremely low possibility I was going to go out in 3rd, which means that I was going to minimum get $17,000 and a shot at the trophy. So I like those odds. So I said, no chop, we're going to battle, and thus the battle begins. We start fighting it out three-handed, and it actually does not take long before we play some interesting hands, to say the least. Let's take a look at them, yeah? We open the King Jack the King Jack offsuit, to $1 million at 400K blind level. And we get called in the big blind by Alex. We flop top pair on a monotone board, and this is a board that, like, even though we have top pair, I really want to pot control. There's so much out there that beats us. There's so much that we're not going to be able to continue on this board, so we're just going to check it over and control. And Alex does not agree with that whatsoever and fires out the 1.5 million. Snap fires it out. We do not like to see the big sizing. Turn 10 pairs the board. We check and he checks back, and which we really like to see. This is never going to be value at this point. No boats, anything like that. And then river queen. So we do hit the top end of the straight. Kind of an interesting spot with 5 million in the pot. It's a massive pot. I think in hindsight, when I look back, I wish I would go really big here because we're never going to be exploited as a bluff. But I think he's going to call wider. I think we should have went like 3.5 or 4 million, but we ended up betting 2.8 million. And after not long deliberation, Alex does decide to put in the call with the bottom end of the straight. He does have an 8. It's the 8 of hearts. He actually flopped the open-ended straight flush draw. I think his hand falls into the perfect category of checking the flop back. But he disagrees. He fired that massive bet. We ended up playing a really big pot here. Almost 11 million in chips. It's not long after we're going to see Van Trailer limp the queen 8 offsuit here. We have pocket 9s, super standard raise. After we raise, he's going to limp jam the queen 8 off. What a gangster. This guy was actually super gangster in a lot of the plays he played when we look back at the stream. But we have a snap call, so we just put the money in, obviously, and we're off to the races.
have a 12 million.
Can we hold $5,000 ladder and to play heads up for 24K and a trophy? Bang, and just like that, we are heads up in a huge spot in a $200 tournament for 24,000 and the trophy. What a sick spot to be in. Couldn't imagine it. There's the payouts. We've officially locked up the 17K. Small chip lead. About 4 big blind chip lead right now. We play heads up for about 45 minutes or so. And really, it's just a lot of raising and folding, c-betting and taking it down. Until we approach this last hand where A7 limps from Alex, and we, with King 9, decide to just check it back. I think that sometimes we need to have some playable King highs. King 10 we would re-raise, or we would raise. King Jack and above, obviously. I think King 9 we can check back and dominate some of his King X limps. Like if he's limping King 5, King 6, King 7, so on and so forth. So we decided to check it back, and we get the King High flop. Here, being out of position, we decide to check in position. He is still going to have some range advantage on this board, I believe. So we do check it over to him, and he obliges with a bet of 600,000. Now, if we're going to check the King 9 pre, then when we hit the King High flop, we have to get value from all things that we dominate now. So we decided to bump it up 1.6 million to go. Alex literally snap calls, throws the million chip in. The dealer doesn't even know what's going on. I mean, he's like confused. So we got him on the hook. Absolute brick of a turn. Deuces spades. 4.7 million in the pot. I think in hindsight I should have went to 3 million, 3.5 here, but I bet 2.1 million. And again, Alex finds the snap call. River ace, and it's the ace of spades. Alex really shouldn't have too many ace X here besides the ace X of spades, which has been a backdoor nut flush draw. So if he had like the ace 4 float, ace 5 of spades for some backdoors, ace 3 of spades, this kind of thing, those would arrive on river with an ace high. However, anything else doesn't really arrive on river with ace high. He is going to have some combos of ace 7 and maybe ace 4 non-spades. He is going to have some backdoor flushes. However, I don't think about it too long, and I decide that we have too good of a king, and when we block the nut flush with the king of spades, blocking a lot of backdoor stuff, like the king X of spades back that we dominated pre, but then backdoor to flush on us, we just have to put in the call here. And unfortunately, we get the bad news.
Is Alex bluffing? Maybe a 5-6, 5-8. He's
calls. This tournament's over. It's over just like that.
And that is a wrap. Unfortunately, we did not take home the trophy. But I'm really not upset with my decision to not take the chop. I thoroughly enjoyed playing some tournaments. Normally I only play PLO cash or cash games in general. So making a deep run in a tournament was a freaking blast. The guys I played three-handed with, I mean, everybody at the final table was great guys. Playing heads up, you know, battling, but still keeping it very friendly with Alex was, you know, was really fun. So I'm happy he won it. It was the strangest feeling after the final hand ended of feeling so defeated. And then I don't know, I wasn't excited about second place whatsoever. I was just ultimately, I was just super defeated. And then it was an hour went by and I was like, wow, what a sick run. I don't know, it fully sets in then that I didn't lose. I didn't come up short. I outlasted 860 people to finish in second and won $17,000 and got endless experience. So no complaints here. I had a blast. More vlogs will be coming. If you made it this far, subscribe, check out all of our other things on social. And if you don't know, I actually own a gambling apparel clothing business, which is kind of the inspiration behind making these vlogs to get that business more eyes. It's a passion project for me and my wife, and we thoroughly believe that in the next 5 years we will be a dominant force in the gambling apparel company, or in the gambling apparel industry. With that being said, again, thanks for watching. More vlogs to come, and hopefully I will see you on a table near you soon. Peace.